and welcome to the second chapter of Graphic Design 101. In this video and the others of this chapter, we will make ourselves familiar with the Photoshop interface. Now I am currently using Adobe Photoshop CC 2017. So if you are using any earlier version or Mac OS, things might appear different, but overall it is the same. Now let's start. The immediate screen I see when I start my Photoshop is called Start Workspace. We get a direct access to create new file or open file command here. In the middle, Photoshop shows you the recent files you were working on. You can change the view how these recent files look. View it as a list or as a thumbnails in grid form. There is something called CC files here. Just ignore it for now. Disclaimer: if you are not using a 2017 version, you might not see the Start Workspace. Now let's start by clicking Create New. This will pop up the New Document dialog box. Here on top, you can see several tabs named Recent, Saved, Photo, Print, etc. All these tabs contain different settings for Photoshop documents. For example, the Photo tab contains settings suitable for editing a photo. The Print tab has settings suitable for working on print media. Similarly, for arts and illustrations, web, and so on. Now you can see this vertical panel saying Preset Details. You can set your own settings for a document if you don't like any preset settings from the above options. Save your custom settings for future use, which can be found under Save tab. I haven't been adventurous since release of this 2017 version, so this tab is empty. Now for the Recent tab, as the name suggests, you will see your recently used settings here. Now for the time being, let's select default Photoshop size and click Create. With the new blank document open, this is how your Photoshop interface should look like, unless you already tried your luck. Now have a good look because we are going in. You can see a slim vertical panel on the left side of the Photoshop window. This is the toolbar, toolbox or toolkit. Say it whatever you like. It contains all the tools you will need while working with the Photoshop. Now there are a lot of tools available here. Just click one to activate it. The activated tool will be highlighted. You will also notice that the mouse cursor changes depending on the tool active at the given time. Now if you put some pressure on your eyes and focus on these tools, you will see that almost all the tools have a little white arrowhead to its bottom right corner. If you click and hold or right click the tool icon, it will reveal more tools of that type. For example, click and hold the pen tool. You will see 4 more tools similar to pen tool. If you right click the shape tool, you can see 4 more tools to create different shapes. Now going further below, you can see 2 overlapping squares in black and white. These represent foreground color and background color. The top square is for foreground color and the back square is for background color. Now just above these squares is a tiny bent 2-headed arrow. Mouse over it and it says switch foreground and background color with shortcut key X. Click it and it will switch the foreground and background colors. On left of this bent arrow are another set of 2 overlapping squares, but tinier than the ones below them. Mouse over and it says default foreground and background colors. It will set the larger squares to default black and white as foreground and background colors respectively. Since black and white are already default colors, you don't see any change. Okay, time to take your focus up the screen. While going up, you might have noticed that the entire toolbar is in single column. And when your focus reaches top, you can see 2 tiny arrowheads pointing right on top left corner of the toolbar. Click it and your beloved toolbar is no longer single. But nothing is forever. Click it again and the toolbar is in single column again. It's time to leave the toolbar in its happily single state and go on to the very top, the main menu bar. Here, I will presume that everybody has a general idea of what a menu bar is and what is it used for. Particulars of Photoshop menu bar will be discussed further ahead in the course. Immediately below the menu bar is the control panel. It shows various properties and options available for a tool active at a given time. It is one of the most important panel after toolbar, and you will be using this panel a lot while working with the program. Now, as I go through the toolbar, you can see that the control panel is changing. Later in the course, you will learn how to use this panel as we start to use different tools in the toolbar. Now done with left and top, let's look at the right hand side of the Photoshop window. Here we see some broad panels and a slim vertical panel docked with them. The slim panel has some icons on it. These icons represent some panels which can be made visible by clicking on it. Clicking the icon again will hide that panel. You can also click another icon to hide the previous panel and show the panel of its own. Coming to the big visible panels. Here we have Colors panel, Libraries panel and Layers panel. We also have some panels docked with these panels as tabs, like Channels panel and Paths panel with Layers panel. These panels, like the Control panel, are very important while working in Photoshop. In order to have a swift and efficient workflow, it is necessary to have a compatible arrangement of these panels. And we will learn how to make ourselves compatible further ahead in the course. Now it's time to get to the bottom of this problem. Program. At the bottom, we have a thin strip. On left of this strip, we have the magnification value of the currently open document. You can click and put your own value of magnification. Zoom in, zoom out. On the right side, we have Visual Aid box and an arrowhead to its right providing different options you want to see related to the document. For example, I want to see document dimensions, so I choose it, and document dimensions it shows. You can also view the document dimensions and resolution if you left click and hold on the Visual Aid box. This click and hold feature will show dimensions and resolution regardless of the option you choose to display in the box. Moving on, let's take a glance at the Documents tab bar. This is similar to Google Chrome's tabs. You open multiple files, you will see them line up here. You can navigate among them easily without changing the window, and you can also copy your layers, colors, swatches from one file to another. But those details for later. This is all for this video. In the next video, we will learn how to make our life in Photoshop a little easier by creating our own custom workspace. See you in the next video.